Well, I remember in Alberta they had farms that you're talking about, and some of those farms have since disappeared. It seems, sadly, there seems to be a movement by a few elitists to squash this. But as you discussed today, and also as John West in the past, as John West and I have talked in the past about this topic, there is tremendous amount of, this could help the world tremendously. And, I would advocate basically going back to this, but I also advocate when it comes to the smoking kind that we only have it in allocated areas. Because there are people out there with breathing problems of asthma, the elderly and the youth, I don't advocate allowing the smoking near everyone. I just say in allocated areas, I have no problem with that. And also, you're talking about the credit crunch that's now going on in the United States and how it's affecting the food and the trucking and the ports. Could you go a little deeper into that? Because you told me that there's some ports that the food is rotting in the ports.
Yeah, they can't get trucking. For some foods, trucking, and the produce sits at the docks a little bit too long, and it becomes unsuitable for use. That's happening not just in the USA, but all over the world. It's been a chronic problem in Africa, where they, with the food that we send over there for relief efforts, it's been a chronic problem there for well over 20 years, right in on the docks. Here in this country, the impact is that the fuel costs are so high, the truckers haven't been able to turn a profit, especially the independent truckers, in trucking our goods to market. Also, a lot of these distributors and trucking companies operate on a credit basis rather than a cash basis. I don't know how we got turned that direction in our economy, but you think one would work off of the profit that you made. You would bank that, and that would be your operating capital. That's not the way they work. They borrow their money for operating capital, and they pocket the profits. And what is happening now is they can't borrow enough capital to keep the trucks rolling, to keep the trucks maintained, to keep the warehouses full, to even pay for the infrastructure costs of the warehousing. So we're starting to run into problems in this area. So it's more than just the cost of oil, it's also the cost of credit. Cost of credit is killing a lot of industries, including the one that I'm in. I'm a machine shop operator, and as such, I'm finding it difficult to materials, metals for doing machining. There are backlogs. The prices are prohibitive. It's to get things when you need them. It's impacting many industries, not just in food industries.
And how close do you think it is to the United States to the economy actually collapsing because of the fact is that the produce aren't coming to market, and also the truckers are starting to go bankrupt?
Well, to anybody paying attention, they'd probably come to the conclusion that it has already collapsed. But I don't think we're going to see the intense side of this until sometime spring of 2009. I don't give us a whole lot of time before we have utter failure. This system is so top-heavy that it's unwieldy. It can't move to absorb any type of negative impact on the industries that they run now. Everything is from top down. Top-down management never has worked. There are so many layers you have to go through. Good information doesn't get up through them because people are protective of their jobs and they're standing within the companies or bureaucracies they happen to belong to. And so the people at the top don't have good information to make good decisions. Decision making should be done at the effective level, which is where things are produced and where the needs exist. Anyway, because of this, we're very, very top-heavy, and this whole system is going to collapse under its own weight. It's not that we don't have enough food. It's not that we don't have enough fuel. It's not that we don't have enough money in the country. It's just that it's all being managed by a small group at the top that doesn't have a real picture of what's going on down at the bottom level. Or if they do, they have an agenda.
Could that agenda actually be a creation of the super rich and the super poor, much like existed back in the Great Depression?
Actually, I see it's going further than that, all the way back to the medieval serf system.
Prior to the Magna Carta, then?
The thing is people are losing their homes, people are losing their business. That land doesn't disappear. Those assets don't just disappear. It ends up in somebody's asset portfolio. And I bet you it's not any of us here at the bottom of the food chain. So what we're seeing now is the accumulation of vast amount of resources and assets by a very, very small group of people. And once that is once that has happened, then you're by default left with a feudal state, because nobody owns property except for the high-level elite handlers, and nobody. Everybody's going to have to live somehow. Where they're going to get their food, where they're going to get housing, where are they going to get their clothing? I see it's going all the way back to a feudal state if we don't stop this.